Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
It's Waffle Box time.
I don't even know what that means.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
No, it's not. It
Gets the people going.
You know what old Jack Burton always says at a time like this?
My crotch is itchy.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. Now don't call me Shirley.
What would you do if you had $1 million?
2 chicks at the same time, man.
Just thank the Lord she didn't live to see her son as a mermaid.
You killed a hooker!
Call girl!
No,
she was
Cyril, when they're dead, they're just hookers.
This time we are sure she's a woman, right?
Why do you want to listen to the TV with the stereo on?
Because I like to party.
Let's do this!
Ooh. Welcome to Waffle Box, the podcast where we talk about anything, everything, and nothing, all at the same time. Coming up on episode 19, we're talking Squid Games, the new Mario movie, and Nintendo announcing the casting. And then we're going to talk about what is old is brand new again, as they've brought back the original Transformers movie in 4K. Exciting stuff. I am Mike Fish, fresh from the barbershop, looking great if you are watching this episode. If you're listening, just trust me, I look good. And I'm joined, as always, by Mr. Kush Hayes. Kush, how you doing, buddy?
What's good, y'all? Kush Hayes here coming to you. And Mike, just wanted to wish you a happy haircut, man. Looking very Ginsu, my man. Looking very Ginsu.
Thank you. I didn't realize how long my beard was, because when he trimmed it, he literally took about 2 inches off it. And it's still looking good. Still looking good. I'm happy. I'm happy.
I get it, and I'm just a beginner at this, but I get it. Like,
it's when you can tie it with a hair tie. That's when you know maybe you might need a trim, unless you're going for that kind of thing. We don't judge.
I'm seeing where it goes.
What have you been up to this week?
A range of emotions this whole week. As you mentioned, I saw a 35th anniversary cut of the Transformers the movie, the original animated film. I saw Will Hobbs put over CM Punk on AEW, and
an old friend of yours.
Great. I wish I could say we were friends, but I at least know the guy enough, and he's a good dude, and I couldn't be happier for him. But yeah, after this, I would be like, I don't know who anybody is. Like, this is the final wave that I was a part of. So he seems to be winning over hearts and minds. I got a Waffle Box mug in the mail today from our gimmick providers, and I'm hoping to do a little live unboxing with that as well.
It's gonna be great audio content.
Yeah, man. So
for those listening, he's got his knife out. That I'm sure has seen some action in the days.
No, thankfully it's opened some nasty letters. I'll tell you that much.
All right, if this is broken, I'm just gonna cut this whole thing out.
That'd be very sad.
That would be sad.
This thing is wrapped pretty well. All right, so that's the box. All right, some bubble wrap.
It was a standard white box. Wow.
I gotta say, it's a little smaller than I thought it would be.
That's what she said.
Chips though. No chips in it. That's good.
Is there that annoying sticker inside that they put in? That
annoying sticker is no longer inside.
Just put it on the bottom. I don't know why they put it inside.
Yeah, that's to deter you from stealing it. I don't know, but I'm ready to put my first cup of coffee in my
that. It's just going straight in there. He's not even washing it. He doesn't care.
I mean, it's fresh off the rack. It's already been washed, in theory. So, but yes, Waffle Box Pod, the best part of Wednesday and the best part of waking up.
Cheers. If you want to get your own Waffle Box mug, go to wafflemerch.com. Beautiful site. It's beautiful.
Hey, it works.
Well, guess what I did over the weekend?
What'd you do, player?
I went to see some whales.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, I had no idea you could go whale watching in the New Jersey-New York divide, but hey, I went down to the Jersey Shore, hopped on a boat, went out to the Atlantic Ocean and watched some whales do some shit. It was pretty cool.
Not too many whales around the UK?
Probably are. Not from where I'm from.
Where you from? Is it pretty landlocked where you are on that island?
Yeah, we've got the River Thames nearby, but not many whales go around the River Thames.
Not too many whales in the river. That's a confirmed fact. It's
very
rare, very rare. Very rare you find a whale in the river.
Usually like an old bike or something. That's about it. It's about exciting.
That's exciting too.
But yeah, it's pretty cool to see nature. And then flopping around, spurting the water in the air, and flopping and seeing their fin go up. Plus, the boat had a bar, which was nice. So I could sit there, watch whales while I was having a beer. It's quite nice.
Nice. Everybody had a good time and whatnot. Your whole entourage.
It was a bit windy. I'll admit that. I lost a mask.
Oh no.
Yeah. Luckily, because I was double masking, because I thought of double mask because I didn't know, even though we were outside, I didn't know how crowded it was going to be, so I took 2 just in case. Luckily, one of my masks survived, so it wasn't too bad.
Okay.
But yeah. Wait, if you ever go whale watching, if you ever think about going whales watching, I highly recommend it. Gets my stamp of approval. Boom.
Well, I try to stay off of boats and out of the ocean as much as possible. So I've seen whales in around here in San Francisco, Monterey Bay, things like that. But yeah, I don't know how fast I need to go see some whales again. I'm more excited about the San Francisco Giants. Not only broke 100 wins I think before the weekend, at least since we've last talked, that they've absolutely clinched a playoff berth, and I believe they are the only team in the National League to do so. Meanwhile, the American League has got half of its playoff prospects already confirmed.
Are the Yankees involved in that? I know they're.
I didn't check. I've only been focused on the Giants. The Giants have been the best team in baseball nearly the entire season. Like maybe a day or two, they've been like number 2 at worst. But it's been a very exciting time for the Giants. To the fact that I got the email today saying, "Hey, are you available for these dates? We all hands on need to be on deck." And I was just like, I'm ready for all of them.
So you get to go see the Giants play baseball, and you get paid to do it.
Fingers crossed. Maybe I might not make the cut. I'll be very happy to be there in whatever form it takes.
Well, I hope they appreciate, because since we last recorded, we celebrated Redhead Appreciation Day. I believe it was called.
I got that tweet. That was exciting.
Did you do anything to celebrate?
No.
I
smoked a joint and had.
I feel you do that on most days.
And that's most days, though. It's most days. Let's just be real.
Maybe next year.
Let's
get into the news this week. Nintendo announced, which I didn't even know this was a thing but Nintendo are teaming up with Illumination, the people that brought us Despicable Me. They're doing a Mario movie, and they announced the voice cast. Did you take a look at this?
I did. Now, before we get a little deep into that, Nintendo it was part of an investors conference. So they're talking about everything Nintendo that's in production, and because they're a publicly traded company, that's why that thing is available to the public. You don't have to be invested in Nintendo to have seen it, and obviously neither of us are. But I saw the list. I'm just like, this will be fun. This is the first time Nintendo has invested in a movie of any kind since the 1993 critical financial bomb that was Super Mario Brothers with Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo. And there's a weird turn in the air, Mike.
That was not a great movie.
People are defying that, saying, no, it was the best movie. It's the greatest movie. And I'm just like, oh, you fucking trolls. Mike, we're going to deal with this for 15 months. This movie comes out Christmas 2022, and we have to hear this nonsense for at least another year and a half.
And for those listening, Kush is even wearing literally rose-tinted glasses, and even he appreciates that Mario movie was trash.
Oh my God. So I was 14 when it made theaters. It was, that May summer blockbuster release. I don't know why I couldn't go by myself, because I was doing that already, but for whatever reason, I guess it was the theater that my mom had to drive us to. So made her take us to see it. And man, we've seen bad movies. We've all seen bad movies. I've seen plenty of bad movies with my mom, but this one movie with Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo, no fault of theirs, she has never forgiven me for, and brings up as a constant. It's like, well, I don't know. I mean, you say this movie looks good, but we also saw Super Mario Brothers, and you remember how that turned out. And it's just like, damn, bitch, how could you do that to me? just let it go, Mama. Let me live.
Just every Mother's Day, just writing a card. P.S. Sorry for Super Mario Brothers.
I haven't thought about that. I should probably do that.
So the voice cast they've announced. So I'm gonna go. I guess I'm going to go in a list of importance.
Go bottom up.
Oh, bottom up.
Yep.
All right. So we've got Charles Martinez, who's obviously the OG guy who just sits in a sound studio and just every now and again goes woohoo.
Yeah. I guess that's a fact. I've been playing Super Mario anything since 1984. All right, dog. As long as I could pick up a joystick or push a button, I've been playing Super Mario Brothers. When it was just called Mario Brothers, when it was just called Donkey Kong, featuring this little plumber, Jumpman. And where I'm going with this is, where am I going with this? This is not a big deal. I didn't know who this guy's voice was is the thing. And all of a sudden people are like, he should be Mario. Should he? It's two different mediums. One's a movie, one's a game.
I'm happy he's in it, but I don't think he needed to be Mario.
He doesn't need to be in this movie. Like, he should be. I'm sure he's actually very grateful, but the fans need to just chill the fuck out.
Yes. And then moving up, we've got Sebastian Maniscalco. I always butcher his name. For those who, he's an American-Italian, very Italian comedian. I'm not going to try to do the accent, but he's very like New York Italian kind of guy.
All right.
He's playing Spike.
Okay.
Then we got Fred Armisen.
Okay.
I know him.
He's in things. He's from Saturday Night Live. His biggest thing lately has been Portlandia.
Yeah.
All the hipsters love.
He's playing Cranky Kong.
That's Donkey Kong's dad, so that'll be fun.
Yeah. And then we've got Kevin Michael Richardson as Kamik, who, as far as I'm aware, Kevin is more of like a stage actor. I don't think he's been in many movies. I think he's like an actor.
Okay, good for him.
And then we've got Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong.
That's going to be great.
I could see that. I could definitely see that. Keegan Michael Key as Toad.
The only thing that's funny about that is Keegan Michael Key is like 7 feet tall, or maybe not that tall, but he's like a very tall man, and Toad is very short. Like, I think Toad's hat is bigger than Toad, to be honest.
I mean, obviously it's going to be totally different characters, but with his appearance in Toy Story 4, was it?
Yeah,
in Toy Story 4. I think that'd be a fun him as Toad.
Oh, he's going to kill it. He'll be fine.
Then we have Jack Black as Bowser.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Always fun. Love a bit of Jack Black. Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach.
America's favorite Anya Taylor-Joy.
And then we've got Charlie Day from Always Sunny playing Luigi.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And Chris Pratt as Mario.
Okay, yeah. So this is also a movie designed for 8-year-olds. It doesn't matter how old the fan base is. Like, this is just a cartoon. So you could have told me anyone's name on that, and I'd be like, yeah, cool. Good for them. I hope they make the best of it. It'll probably still be funny. I don't know.
So we mentioned him earlier, John Leguizamo.
Yes, John Leguizamo. He's a fantastic comedian. He's a fantastic Broadway producer. He's an actor, character actor. Like, John Leguizamo is the dude. And,
his show, was it, I might forget the exact name. Was it Latino History for Idiots, or?
I'm sure he's done something like that.
It was a stage show that got put on Netflix, and that was very good. It was perfect line between educational and funny. It was very good. If
he's got a great series of HBO specials, most likely on HBO Max. I'm just guessing, but you should check them all out. I don't think any of them are appropriate for me to say, but John Leguizamo is the dude who was very young when Super Mario Brothers was cast, and he is very public about how much he has hated it. But what has he said, Mike?
So he tweeted out after Nintendo announced the voice cast for this new movie, and he said, and I quote, "So glad Super Mario Brothers is getting a reboot. Obviously it's iconic enough, but too bad they went all white. No Latinx in the leads, groundbreaking colorblind casting in the original. Plus, I'm the only one who knows how to make this movie work script-wise. There's a lot to unpack in that little tweet there. One, why does he believe he is the only one that could possibly make a good Super Mario Brothers script?
He can't do any worse than what was already out there, I think. So I would like to think this is a joke tweet. I figured it was going to be a joke tweet, but then it's just like he threw out the Latinx part, and I was like, well, come on, that's obviously funny because they're Italian plumbers. The big controversy. People have the audacity to make a controversy like, why aren't they Italians? Chris Pratt's not Italian. Chris Pratt's also not a plumber, and he's not 3'4". All right, it's a cartoon.
Plus, I imagine when this tweet's going out saying, "Too bad they went all white." Keegan Michael Key's probably sitting there. Excuse me, and Kevin Michael Richardson.
I'm very positive those two have worked together, and yeah, I feel like this is just a Johnny Legs having a chuckle.
I hope so. But yeah, this seems very strange. And I saw the replies in this because I am not any part of that community. I'm not gonna try to pass judgment or anything like that. But some of the replies because he used Latinx, and apparently a lot of Latino people or Hispanic people not a big fan of that phrase. Apparently that's like a
good. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Apparently it's like a white thing that we I don't know, but yeah. So it's very strange. So maybe he meant it as a tongue in cheek, but seemed a bit odd.
I'm just gonna say that anybody who has a negative opinion on this has no problems whatsoever in their life, and congratulations. But if this children's cartoon based on a video game upsets you in the least, I don't know if we're supposed to say it, but yeah, don't rethink your priorities. I want to say something meaner, but no, rethink your priorities.
Also, it's not like this is like Tom Cruise or what's his name?
Tom Cruise would be great in this. Let's get Tom Cruise involved. All right.
It's not like you're clearly getting
you can play Yoshi,
a white person to play a character in live action who was originally not white. Shall we just say that? This is it's a voice cast for a cartoon based on a video game based on Italian plumbers. It's not. Let's not get too crazy about this. But maybe I'm wrong.
I wouldn't lose any sleep over this, and I wouldn't lose any sleep about John Leguizamo. Even in just that tweet, let's just say he's all in, and that's a crazy man's rambling. Come on.
Yeah. Well, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a fun movie. I'm not going to go into it expecting an Oscar-worthy winner, but I think it'll be fun to watch. So hopefully, and Illumination's a good studio, so I think it will at least look good. So we'll see. But yeah, we have to wait quite a while for that.
I will have an opinion once a trailer is released, and even then, I'm probably like, well, it looks like a kid's movie, and I bet they danced a Pitbull at the end also. That's an Illumination trope.
Look forward to reviewing it in episode 70, 80 something, probably. Mark in your calendars. Next thing. So this is like the hot thing. As far as I'm aware, everyone seems to be talking about it to me until I watched it. Have you? Well, I know you have, but Netflix put out Squid Game. I forced you to watch. Well, I didn't force you to watch it, but okay. So backstory for those listening and watching. So I wanted to talk about it because it seemed it was a pretty cool show, and so I texted Kush and I was like, "Hey, have you ever seen this?" And he said, "No." I'll check out an episode, see what I think, and then the next thing I know, he's finished it in like a day. So I'm assuming either you're very dedicated to the craft and dedicated to the show, or you kind of enjoyed it. Did you like it?
I definitely didn't hate it. It's enjoyable. So first off, I was very surprised. The biggest surprise I got out of this whole series was that it's flat Netflix produced. Like Netflix didn't lease this from a South Korean TV studio or production company. they went over there and they made a drama about Korean classism and all this crazy shit. This movie's been done before. This isn't anything new we've seen. You might remember this when it was called The Running Man, or when it was called Battle Royale, or most recently The Hunger Games. I think that was the reference you used.
Yeah.
So we've seen this before. They definitely took this to a much larger body count.
Yeah.
There's 456 people involved, and the body count is actually higher than that. Spoiler alert. All spoilers.
Oh yeah. By the way, yeah. If you haven't watched Squid Games, feel free to fast forward this segment.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are going to get into it. But for those who are interested, so basically, it's like I say, where I described it to you was it's sort of like a game show mixed with Hunger Games, because basically it's a game where people who are hard on their luck, who are in a lot of debt, they desperately need money, so they go into this really crazy game. But before we get into that, so it kind of opens up. So this is where I'm going to look extremely ignorant, being the Western person I am. So they opened up the show with our protagonist.
Mm-hmm. I hate the main character, FYI.
I'm going to butcher the name. So Seong Gi-hun.
Mm-hmm. I know him as number 456.
No, 456. So he's kind of explaining what the Squid Game is. Now, they focused on this for a good, what felt like 5 minutes, trying to explain how the Squid Game works. It's an old children's game, apparently, in South Korea.
Mm-hmm.
It involves defense and offense and hopping on one leg, and then if you go across one side, you get to be the Emperor Royale, whatever it's called, and then you get to use both legs, and then it becomes like a sumo wrestling match, I guess. So you have to. It was like, what the? I have no idea what this game is.
I won't invest any time in that. It's the game. Explain the rules. I hope to never play it, but that's the point.
And we have at the moment we have no listeners in South Korea. However, maybe this one is the one that brings them in. So if you are listening to this in South Korea, and you can do a way better job of explaining what the Squid Game is, if it's actually a real thing, I'm sure you can. Email enjoywafflebox@gmail.com. Please help me understand this game.
Welcome, Deha.
So basically, the whole premise of the introduction is basically making Seong look like a complete piece of trash. Mm-hmm. He's in debt. He still lives with his mum, who he mistreats. He steals money from her to go gambling.
Terrible father.
And terrible father. So he was going to take his daughter out for her birthday, but he ended up gambling the money away, and then he got the money stopped. Oh, it was just not a very likable character in episode 1. And then, so he's basically in a lot of debt, and so much so that the debtors catch up to him in episode 1, and they basically say, hey, you got a month to pay us back all of our money.
It's very generous of them, by the way, because he's already like deep in debt.
Right. But then they make him sign something with his own blood.
What's the point? But all right.
Say, like as if that was the thing.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't sign anything before, so I guess now I will pay. But if he doesn't pay within a month, they're gonna take away his kidney.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
You're gonna start chopping off other things too, they say.
So he's very much hard on his luck, and then he meets this strange-looking guy who offers him some money to play a game with him, which is basically, I don't know if you had it in America. I'm assuming you did. Remember Pogs?
Okay, yeah.
It looked like basically a type of game like that, where you had to turn over the thing, and if you won, and if he lost, he got slapped in the face, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, and I was a little too old for Pogs, but that's a great comparison. I'm just like, okay, yeah, that's exactly what they're playing. Shit.
So, and then basically he just gave him a business card and go, hey, if you need help with your debts, we've got this game we're playing. Long story short, he signs up for it and he's in. Have I missed anything to build up the entrance of this?
No, he eventually signs up for it. They pick him up in a van and gas him, and then he wakes up and he's in. It's something the equivalent of a couple airplane hangars, and it's just filled to the brim with bunk beds that are just they're like 10 12 levels deep, and again, they establish there's over 456 people there, and they explain the rules, and it's like, just play the game. You can always choose to not play the game, but if you do play the game, money is going to be a big issue here.
And if you don't play, you'll be quote unquote eliminated from the game, which they don't know what that means just yet.
Well, no, there's a thing where like, no, you can just go, but you have to make your decision right now. Like you can stay or you can go, but if you stay, you're in. you're committed to this, and it's going to get incredibly stressful. Another thing I took away from this, so the jackpot for this is 49 billion won, and that's their currency, won, WON. And I went to the currency calculator, and it's less than $4 million US. There's a lot of weight going on in this movie for a mere less than $4 million.
Wait, no, I thought it was more than that. Why did I?
It's even less in pounds, obviously. It's like 3.6 million pounds.
No, I think so. It's 40. It was
49 billion.
Yeah,
is what's in his bank account at the end of the movie.
So 49 000 000 000, and that comes to $41.2 million.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You sure, I say?
Yeah. Go back to Google. Yeah, I think you must have missed a note somewhere. But still, it's not enough money for me to go through what this is. But anyway, we'll get that. So I think this is where we meet some of the other characters, including O Il Nam, who is a very old man who is very sick, or
He's
number one. That's kind of almost, like, if you think about it, that's kind of foreshadowing why he's number one. But old man who's got like a tumor in his brain, and so he's like, I just want to win some money. Why not? Or something.
Not doing anything else.
And then we also, I believe, we meet his friend Cho Sang-woo, who is an old friend of his, or school friend, I think, who went to SNU, which is apparently a very good business school or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can't remember. Basically, the other characters include Kang Se-byuk, who was like a young woman who was there from North Korea, and she was trying to earn money to get her family from who's trying to get her rest of her family over from North Korea, and also get her little brother out the orphanage. Then we have Jang Deok-soo, who is a gangster, but he's also in a lot of debt, so he needs the money. Abdul Ali, which I don't know whether
he's Pakistani. He's a Pakistani migrant.
Cliche that they obviously needed the Pakistani name for this show, and Abdul Ali, that'll do. Who's got a young family and he's trying to support them. And then Hanmi Niet, who I wrote down as just the annoying one.
Is that the crazy woman?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So they're obviously there's a lot of them, but they're the main cast of characters in this show. So they all sign up to play the game, and then we're introduced to the first game, which is basically, wait, what did they call the first game?
Red light, green light.
Red light, green light. It's classic, where you go from one end to the other. When they say green light, you're allowed to run, and then once they say red light, you have to stop. And if anyone sees you moving, you're out of the game. However, when you're out of the game in this one, all of a sudden, sniper shot straight to the head, and that's when people start to realize, oh shit, this is not the kind of game I thought I was signing up for. Everyone goes crazy, starts running around, and this is where we lose a bunch. 200
people die in this scene, and it's just they just get mowed down, and it's just they obviously panic when the first guy dies, and so they moved, and that's against the rules, and murder, lots of murder.
And then they get back to their bunkers.
Understandably, are upset about this.
Yeah.
And the results of this game, and they protest and say, "Okay, if you want to go on a little vote right now, we get a majority rules thing going on here. You can all go home, but you don't get any of this money." And
Well, that was when they finally announced the prize money.
Mm-hmm. But then more money shows up because 200 people died.
Right, and then they find out, hey, if you quit the game, you can quit the game, but you're not taking any money, and we're just going to split the money between the families of the dead.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually they decide to stay. Well, it's like it came down to like the last vote. No. That's where they quit, right? The majority of them,
very, very small margin, but they end up quitting. They all go home. They all get gassed. They're placed back in their usual residences, and then they all like are hit with just like more problems than when they left with. Like, oh, well, maybe I could murder all those people. I really need this money. Ooh.
And then they all go back in, except for about, was it 10 or so? Didn't go back in. I think they mentioned it at some point.
30 people just are like, no, no, I will take my lumps on the street here. But a good chunk of them come back, and it's game on.
And then this is where we're introduced to the main, or who we think is the main bad guy, who's this mysterious guy in the black mask. And he's like, oh, keep an eye on those that didn't patrol.
Yeah, there's this whole other layer to the onion where they got again, you get the head bad guy dressed head to toe in black. He's got the weird mask, and then his minions all are also wearing masks. They look like microphone heads, but there's X's, levels,
O's, and triangles.
Yeah. So the triangle seems to square is the head, is like the sergeant or at least the lieutenant. Then the triangles, they're the muscle. Those are always the guys with the guns. And then the circles are just the laborers. And they're in charge of cleaning up, picking up, setting up, doing this, doing that, cooking, cleaning, etc., etc., etc. And they got this whole weird class system to it. It's like, don't talk unless you're spoken to. And, you know, if your identity is revealed, you'll be just killed on sight. But then there's this whole other side story.
Yeah. Are you talking about the police officer?
Guys in that clique. There's the cop too. Yeah, the cop is looking for his brother.
Which, as soon as I don't know if you did the same, but as soon as he did that whole, I'm looking for my brother, he was in there, blah blah blah, and I want to find him, and blah 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 blah. I was kind of like, that motherfucker in the black mask is his brother, I bet.
It's supposed to be a big reveal, but I didn't see it coming.
You didn't? You didn't see it coming?
Oh no! I mean, they when he breaks into the records room, there's volumes of this shit, and his brother literally just won the game like 3 or 4 years ago, or at least was part of that game. So it could have been anybody. As far as I knew, that dude was dead. So when it was the big reveal, it's just like, oh, well, okay, sure. Along with the next big reveal, which I should have saw coming, because that's the one. This movie loves.
Well, it's not a movie,
to hang on the violence, and so the one guy that doesn't get killed, or that you don't see die on screen, that they don't show his body, his corpse. I was just like, oh, of course it was him this entire time.
Well, okay, so we're getting ahead of ourselves. So the other side story, which I didn't, was that some of the X's and O's and all that were basically collecting the dead bodies, and rather than incinerating them that they're supposed to be doing, they were taking some of them to a secret surgical place, and they had one of the contestants who was a doctor or a surgeon basically farm their organs and things like that. Which, when I was looking back, what was the point? Because that didn't really have any major payoff, really.
No, it didn't. There was no consequences for it when they didn't make they're like, there's a boat ready for right now. You got to make that.
We didn't find out who was buying the organs, and then
very empty calories on that story, and then the cop does get involved in that too. So you're for a minute, you're like, well, this is going to go somewhere, and then it ultimately just doesn't.
Just doesn't. It's very strange. Like,
it's
eventually,
probably the weakest thread in the whole quilt.
Eventually, the big boss finds out about it, and he's just basically like, "Yeah, I don't care, but don't cheat." Okay.
Yeah.
And then it ended. Okay. Cool.
So they enlisted the aid of one of a doctor that just happened to be there, or was supposed to be there, or whatever. Someone in the 456 is a doctor and is performing the transplants, performing the surgeries to get the organs out. And so to reward him, they're like, well, tomorrow's game will be this, and tomorrow's game will be that. And they would hide it in his snack or whatever. But there's still no payoff to the whole organ transplant sale. It just it's over. That guy is dead. We know there's a cop who's on the premises now. We need to find him. Oh, we found him. Oh, well.
The end.
The end for him.
And then another side story that they sort of had going, which I think actually had a very good payoff in the show, was so the gangster Jang Gyuk-soo and the annoying woman Han Min Yed. Now, see, I watched this in the English dubbed version, and I'm going to assume that there was a version where it was just spoken in Korean, and you could watch the subtitles. So I
watched one or two videos on this after I was done watching it, and all of them were just like it was only available in English.
Oh, okay. Because I was wondering, maybe I'm doing her a disservice, and maybe it was just the English actress or the English speaking actress who did her voice that was annoying, and maybe in the original Korean, her own voice, maybe she wasn't as annoying, but.
No, she's definitely playing to the cheap seats, man. The actress herself is just over the top in general. So
it was pretty horrible. But anyway, so her and the gangster end up forming this like sexual relationship, and then
I mean they're teaming up. It's an alliance, if you will.
But then fast forward, there's a game in which so the gangster is working with the doctor, so he knows the games ahead of the time as well. And they find out they're playing tug of war for one of the games. And so obviously he's like, well, I need all strong men in my team. And so he ditches the annoying woman, to which she basically says, I'm going to kill you one day, and you're going to pay for this.
One, I don't know why she didn't see that coming. And then two, it was just like, all right, I mean, sure. That's probably an inevitability.
But then the main guys get stuck with two women on their tug of war team and the old man. And you're thinking, oh my god, they're gonna. So basically, this game was tug of war, and if you got pulled across the line, basically you fell to your death from a great height. So they're thinking, well, we're screwed. We've got two women and an old man on our team, but miraculously, he has all these tricks up his sleeve of how to correctly navigate a great tug of war game, and they end up winning, and the old man survives. Huzzah. Lovely day. And then there's other, I'm not going to go game by game because some of them are stupid, like the honeycomb one where they had to carve a shape out of a thing, whatever. But anyway, the main point of the where it all comes to almost a crescendo is there's a game called The Bridge.
The Bridge is actually a lot of fun.
The Bridge was a very good episode.
Yeah.
Because we got a lot going on there. So basically, they had a bridge constructed where it was panes of glass, and you had to decide which one you had to jump on, because there was one who was hardened glass, and then one what was
just regular ass glass.
But as soon as you jump on it, it's going to shatter and you fall to your death again. So there's a very recurring theme here. Lots of falling to your death.
I don't know why they made them take their shoes off. It's just like, I mean, the getting glass in my feet is not going to be the worst thing that happens in this game. So
yeah, oh no, I'm falling to my death, but thank God I haven't got bits of glass in my feet.
Yeah,
not a big deal. But basically, so they had 10 minutes to cross this bridge. And obviously, if you went first, you had no chance of winning. But so at some point, the gangster, the big bad gangster, he is up at the front. He has, I think,
he was like
3 or 4,
10, and now he like enough people has died that he's the first one in line. He's like, fuck,
and he has like 3 or 4.
Apart.
He has about 3 or 4 to go, and then he makes a decision. You know what? I'm obviously going to die, so screw it. I'm going to let everyone else die. Ha! You all go down with me.
And the hardened glass will support up to 2 people. Is a note they give out. And
Indeed.
I'm just like, all right, well, whatever. I don't know.
And then to close up the annoying woman storyline who said she was going to kill him, that's basically she just jumps on him and pushes him. Rather than pushing him, she
almost suplexes him.
She suplexes him
it's a good
through the glass. So they both fall to their death. So she dies, but she was happy, I guess, because she got to kill him as well.
Yeah.
And then
meanwhile, once we get to
the final 3,
are they there when we're playing the game of marbles, or is it only when they're at the chess bridge? When we get the VIP clients that come in,
the VIP clients come in,
and they're
bridge.
doing that usual bullshit where they got to wear masks based on animals, but they're all gold plated, bedazzled out, and they look.
And they're
very
all
heavy,
talking very over the top. Oh, look at me! I'm enjoying this game.
It looked very hard to see out of. I can't see why this would be. I understand the principle. The principle is to disguise your identity. We get that. Maybe we could wear something a little less intrusive.
So we get introduced to the VIPs, who I'm assuming are bankrolling this whole thing because they want to see some weird, sick human.
So the games are definitely being broadcast over a dark web platform.
And people are gambling on it, I think.
People, I think, are gambling. But yeah, it's definitely, these 6 dudes are definitely such big fans that they have been invited onto the property. But I'm sure there are other VIPs that weren't there. They should have done hey, where's so-and-so? The guy with the snake head. Why isn't he here today? Where's the guy with the penguin face? Oh, deer head's here. That's great. Welcome, Panda Bear.
But that is also when we kind of get the idea that Black Mask guy isn't actually the main man, because he seems to be on the phone with someone else who wants to know what's going on and why everything's going to plan.
And the VIPs are disappointed that his boss is not there to greet them, to welcome them, and that becomes a whole reveal later.
So
when I see these movies from around the world and they employ the token ugly American, it makes me mad that I'm not in that role. I could play that thing perfectly. I would love to just Mike, we need to be in a Filipino film or a Hong Kong movie where they're speaking to us in Chinese and we can only reply in English because we don't know any better, and then they just play it off oh sure, he speaks perfect Mandarin, of course. And
I have to talk like this.
You might have to talk like that, yeah.
Oh, you poor people. I've got so much money. I could buy your family 10 times over.
That'd be a good character, Mike. You should develop that.
Waffle Box Productions.
Yeah, international film producers, you need to put the Waffle Box boys on it.
Get us on it.
We'll be your token Americans.
Okay, and then
token Westerners, I guess.
We get down to our final 3, and as their final 3, they get invited to a lovely dinner.
It looked like a good dinner too.
Looked like a good dinner. But then obviously it becomes very clear that they only had intentions to have 2 people in the final, because after dinner, when they're clearing the plates, they leave their steak knives and only their steak knives. And very quickly, the 3 contestants realize, oh, okay.
And before all this, when we actually have a much denser population, someone actually gets murdered. It's not even it was an accident. No, it's flat out murder. There are cameras everywhere, and the staff does nothing about it. In fact, later that night, it was a full-on blacklit melee where it's just strobes are going off and chaos is happening and more people are dying and nothing is being done about it. It's not part of the game. It's just we're just clearing bodies here. These are just less people in the way now.
It's sort of like that nightclub scene from The Matrix, except instead of dancing, people were murdering each other.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
And there's less music.
A lot less music. It's definitely not as sexy.
And so that comes down. So it came down to Kang Sang-byuk, who was injured, and so Cho Sang-woo murders her or finishes her off, and that angers Seong Gi-hun. And he's like, they're ready for battle now. It's the final game, and they have to play the Squid Game. Full circle. Come on down. Which, again, I still don't understand the rules. But basically, this time they announced that, hey, this is how you win the game, but unless the game ends if one of you cannot continue. And they're like, what does that mean? So, well, if one of you's dead, the game's over, I guess. So it basically, they start playing the Squid Game, but then it just basically becomes a fight. And they try to kill each other.
It's just a brawl. And they do explain, they're explaining to the VIPs, like, yeah, this is actually a very violent children's game. Like, you get fucked up in this game trying to play it. It's, you know, at least a bloody nose. But they go full out. They still have their knives. Someone gets dirt thrown in their face, and like, oh, I can't see. But well, you know, the actual Squid Game battle wasn't bad. I enjoyed it.
Here's what I did. Again, spoilers if you haven't already fast forward by now. But so it comes down to the old friends, school friends, but they hate each other now, or at least one of them hates him because he was a murderer now. And he's about to win the game so that Cho Sang-woo is going to get shot and the game's going to end and he's going to win all the money. But then he has this kind of weird, no, we're both going to refuse to play and then the game's over. And then Cho Sang-woo
trying to redeem the character too, which I thought was a cop-out.
Yeah. And then Cho Sang-woo just stabs himself in the neck and commits suicide. So I was like, what? Why during the whole story arc of this character, why would he do that? He has literally in cold blood murdered several people to get to this point. Why now would he just decide to commit suicide? It made no sense.
Seemed like a good idea at the time, I guess.
But so Seong Gi-hun is announced the winner, and he goes home. He gets dumped with a credit card, which has a whole bunch of money.
I was waiting for that preacher to steal the card and run off.
That would have been funny. That would have been a great way to end the show.
That would have been great.
But he's all sad. So he got okay. Actually, no, I missed a bit because this is again another annoying part. So basically, the woman, Kang Se-byuk, made him promise, the pickpocket made him promise that, hey, if you make out this and I don't, use some of the money to get my little brother out of the orphanage and look after him. That's a big point. And then at the end, when Cho Sang-woo is committing suicide, similarly, he says, hey, look after my mom. Okay. So after that, fast forward, this guy does none of that and spends a whole year just being miserable.
Sulking for sure. He's been through a lot. He's definitely traumatized. And that's fair. He's seen over 450
he's
definitely people die.
He's seen some shit. And if I was in his shoes, I'm pretty sure that I'd need a lot of therapy.
I don't know how you recover from that, honestly.
But
even
at least
with $41 million in your pocket.
But eventually he takes some of the money. He goes to visit the kid in the orphanage, gets him out of the orphanage, and he kind of like kills two birds with one stone by basically giving the kid over to the other guy's mum and then giving her a suitcase full of money. So basically, hey, look after him, blah, blah, blah. And then
it's unclear if it's all of the money. I think he there's a note saying, I owe this to your son, but it's unclear if it was all of the money.
So maybe it was like half of it, maybe.
Maybe. Not impossible. It was definitely a big suitcase and it was only filled with money. I was like, there was probably going to be a sweater in there too, but no.
Yeah, no, you need to use some of this money to buy clothes, by the way. This kid's got nothing.
There you go.
Also, another point on this is where Seong Gi-hun makes a big and during like a scene. I guess a scene that was supposed to be emotional where he's like, oh, what would you do if you won the money? He's like, I'd finally be a good dad to my daughter. Right?
Yeah.
To which, again, I point out that he took a year to do this. And then he gets himself cleaned up. He gets himself a nice haircut with red hair for some reason. Mm-hmm. Now he looks like a member of BTS.
That was a weird choice, I will say.
And then he's all like business happy, blah, 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 blah. And he's on the way to the airport to see his daughter, who now lives in America with her mum, and her new husband. And then at the train platform, he sees the guy from the original playing Pong with someone. Or Pongs, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, playing Pog.
Pogs, not Pong. Pong's a different game. Pogs. And then he goes to chase him and he disappears. He's like on the train. Says, damn it, couldn't get him.
By the way, that guy actually, he seemed, really pleased. It was like, oh, it's you. I remember you.
Hey, buddy.
Like, who knows how many people he put in that airplane hangar. To see one of them again alive and now rich, like, oh, hey.
Oh, by the way, I missed the whole big point. Because then at some point, someone contacts him and he's like, hey, you should meet me in this building. And it's the big boss. And the reveal is that it's the old man who everyone thought was dead, but he didn't die. Number one. And basically he said, been in charge of this the whole time. And since I knew I was dying, I thought, screw it, it'll be fun. And I got him, I would play the games.
I hated that.
And then it was a terrible scene. And he eventually died. And
the scene is fine. I enjoyed the dialogue. I didn't mind the scene out of context, but as part of the storyline, I was like, that's dumb. I mean, if they're leaving it,
what if he died during
these
Tug of
9
War?
episodes, then okay. What if he died? Then he would have died. I mean, he did say he still has a brain tumor, so he knows.
I mean, he should have died in the marble game, but they saved him, I guess. So I don't know. Anyway, so now he's all happy-go-lucky. He's looking dapper in his new look, and he's about to board this plane to America. And then, for some reason, all of a sudden, he decides to phone up the number on the business card, and they're like, "Hey, would you like to play a game?" And he's like, "No, you shouldn't be doing this anymore. Blah blah blah. You need to stop." And then the black mask guy gets on the phone. He's, number 456. You need to get on that plane. It's good for you.
Get on that plane. Go to America. Live a rich life.
And then, so this guy who 1 year ago said he was going to now become a better father for his kid, who then waited a whole year to go see his kid, all of a sudden was like, fuck that. I'm going to try to avenge this game again or something. It was like, what? It was a horrible ending. I didn't like it.
At least it was consistent because he was never a good father, and why would he be now? So at least it was consistent.
It was consistent, I guess, but you think, I mean, maybe I'm just trained to think that there's a payoff, and the payoff would be him being a good dad and being, hey, whatever.
It'd be a nice payoff, maybe if he was a good father, or if someone else had just won and made their life better. Like everyone that died in that movie was just an absolute loser, in multiple ways. They tried to hammer in a message. All right, fine, I got it. I hope they don't do a sequel to this, but they left that wide open.
So that's what I was going to mention next. So the only good reason to end it the way it did was to leave it open for season 2. And so I did a little bit of research, and the guy who created it was like, I have no real idea. I have no plans to do a second one. I haven't got an idea of what the second one could be. So it's like, well, why did you end it like that?
Because it could be a success and Netflix might order 10 next time. Like I get that. I totally understand that.
So I mean, overall, we've definitely missed some stuff, and because it's 9 episodes. We're not going to sit here.
I wish it was 6, maybe even just 5.
But it was one of those shows that
more mystery. I would have liked more mystery, less explanation. Don't have number 1 be the lead bad guy, or at least don't reveal him in this movie or series. But
it was one of those I didn't get hooked in. I didn't like it from episode 1 because, again, the whole idea of the main character, they just set him up to be a loser, horrible type of person. Again, somewhat, why am I invested in this guy? But then I actually started to enjoy it. I had a couple of good scenes, a couple of good games, very interesting dialogue. But then, yeah, the last episode just lost it for me. I mean,
and these things always have a shitty last episode. So yeah, no love lost there. But yeah, they always gotta wrap up a bunch of stuff and just like. Stupid.
So overall, for me, I would say it's probably going to be like a 3 out of 5 for me. What did you think of it?
Yeah, that's fair. 3 out of 5. Like, definitely check it out. I had a huge gap of time, and it's very easy to just get into the next one. Like sometimes the episode will end right after a game, but sometimes there's a cliffhanger. You're like, well, there's no way I'm just gonna stop watching this now. Like, yeah, I need to see where this bridge leads.
But they're all pretty much roughly 30-35 minutes long, right? Each episode.
I thought they were about 45, but it varied. It definitely varied. There's no formula for it.
But yeah, some of them just felt like they lasted about 2 hours. It's like, it's so heavy.
Yeah, again, like very ambitious in Netflix. They themselves went out to have this created. They didn't lease this from anybody. So I was very surprised with that and how well it was, considering that this is just a little company that mailed out DVDs from San Jose once upon a time, and now they're doing full on global productions. So
and hiring The Rock.
Yeah,
I mean, The Rock's not in this, but he's going to be in a movie in Netflix.
I'm sure he is. Is that with Gal Gadot and Ryan Reynolds?
It is.
Okay, when's that coming out?
I have no idea.
That's fair.
But when it does, I'll watch it.
And they'll tell you that like a minute after it happens, like, yo, that movie you want to see is out now. Like, yeah, I hope there is no second season to this. Just leave it as it is. It's fine. But
because it's
I like these movies. I like Escape Room. I like Saw when it isn't just being horror porn. I like when it actually had a point. Like I like the puzzle cube. You know, again, we've seen this story before in other formats and other media.
I mean, I'm not just saying it's just Netflix thing, because obviously a lot of TV studios and people do this.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope it ends now, because like even like Stranger Things, which is one of my favorite shows. But I think
I've not seen an episode yet.
Oh, okay. But that season 1 of Stranger Things is a work of art.
Okay.
But then
I've not heard a bad thing about it. I have no desire to see it.
But I've watched it, and they're just about to release season 4, and I've watched all 3 seasons. But you can definitely tell it's like it's getting diluted each season. They could, if they'd just left it as like one, like boom, this is Stranger Things. Enjoy it. It would have been magnificent. But now it's. I mean, I'll watch season 4 when it comes up. I'm like,
Well, you'll be with your friends again, and they'll have a little adventure, and you know it'll be fun, and there'll be some ha-has and some nostalgia you recognize. You'll be like, oh, okay, that was a thing in America at that time. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if you haven't watched Squid Game and you listen to all of that nonsense, then good on you. But I mean, I'd still recommend watching it. But
it's a very fast burn. Again, I did it in less than 12 hours, or less than 24 hours with a nap, of an 8-hour nap that they call sleep.
Perfect. So check it out. If you did watch it, let us know what you thought on our social media networks at WaffleboxPod, or email us at enjoywafflebox@gmail.com. So we're going to end tonight's show not so much on a movie review as such as we normally do, but since this movie already came out 35 years ago, but you went to see it's not what is it? It's like a cleanup of it, I guess. So
there's this distribution company called Fathom Events. They do a lot of 1-night only events, 2-night only events. So you and I had to do a schedule reroute a few weeks ago.
Oh, is this part of the Golden Girls thing?
The Golden Girls was one of the events I went to. Before that, like the Twilight Zone had a thing, I Love Lucy had a thing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So Fathom Events also does movies, and so like Ghostbusters, hey, such and so. All of these events are promotional tools for. So in this case, it's the 35th anniversary of Transformers the movie. It's the cartoon on the big screen.
More than meets the eye.
This is advertising or promoting if not a Blu-ray, a 4K Ultra cut. So the picture is crystal clear, no scratches, no cigarette marks. Like you're going to see a lovely quality print of your favorite childhood movie based on your favorite toy. How old were you when Transformers the movie came out? I had just turned 8. It came out like 2 days after my birthday.
I was
You were
1.
Okay. Do you remember the first time you saw it then? You obviously didn't see it in the theater.
I have no idea. But this is a movie.
That's
Is this the one that you got the touch?
That's the one exactly.
Yeah. No, I can't remember when I watched it, but
well, as of this publishing, when you drop this, when you release this on YouTube, you can't see it on the big screen anymore unless your local mom and pop is doing a thing of their own on their wonky screen. Fathom Events, again, it was 2 nights only. Everything is done, but now you can buy the Blu-ray copy or the 4K copy. It's probably on iTunes. It's probably at Best Buy. You'll find it. But that was the promotional thing for it. But biggest complaint of the night was they didn't enhance the audio, the soundtrack, not just the music, but the dialogue. It was very noticeable. Like, I'm normally oblivious to that, or maybe just spoiled by modern 16 channel, of just information being blasted at me. But in this case, this movie was made in 1986, 1987. So it's Dolby, but it's literally just coming from 3 channels in front of you, and all these speakers around you are just taking up room at this point. How do I know that? Because when they're doing the commercials and the advertisement, there's no trailers or anything, but there's a little pre-show. It's blasting in my ear. But as soon as the movie comes, it's all quiet in the back, and it's like a mullet. Business in the front and, well, no party in the back. So that's a bad reference. But beautiful picture. Lots of nostalgia feels. It's a fun time. The movie's actually kind of dog shit when you break it down and you look at it from the perspective of an adult.
Yeah, I haven't seen the movie in probably 20 years. So
fantastic animation. It's still a lot of fun. It's a lot of, it's Transformers being played against power metal ballads. So that's still a good time, even nostalgia wise. But yeah, at one point, so as you all know, Optimus Prime dies, and it's a fantastic battle, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, at one point, Ultra Magnus, his successor, is murdered and just literally ripped apart by the limbs. And well, at first, the surviving Transformers of that melee, they make friends with the Junkticons, and then they have a big dance celebration. But meanwhile, Ultra Magnus is still in a pile in the corner. But then the Junkticons put him together because guess what? He's a fucking robot. And it's probably safe to say Optimus Prime could have been brought back in this movie as well.
That's a good thing about machines. You can fix
that
them.
is a good thing about machines. However, it's still a fantastic dramatic scene when Optimus Prime dies. But did you know that it was such a big controversy that, guess what, Mike Fish? They would have to figure out a way to bring Optimus Prime back later in the series.
Which was, I believe, wasn't it when all of a sudden there was like a shower scene and Optimus Prime comes out and he's like, "Oh, I had this crazy dream."
Something like that, yeah.
And the whole thing was just a dream.
I know what you're referencing, and that was very funny. I appreciated that. Thank you. It was so impactful that when they were going to do the same thing with G.I. Joe, the movie, they were going to kill Duke. And sure enough, he still gets stabbed violently through the heart with a serpent spear or whatever, something sharp that resembles a snake. Big surprise, Cobra. It's later addressed in the end of the movie. It's like, hey, Duke just got out of his coma and he's going to be A-okay. And then roll credits. So, Transformers movie, I'm sure
maybe we should do that for all movies. That like remake, like so at like the end of Lion King. Mm-hmm. Oh, Simba's dad's okay. Oh. He's out of his coma.
So it's funny you say that, but so because of things like
Bambi's like, hey, Mom, how's your broken leg?
When they did Man of Steel, the destruction of Metropolis was so just hated that like every movie after that, even the Marvel films, I feel like okay, we got everybody is safe on a shuttle bay. The town is completely empty. Oh, thank God we're now in the desert now. There'll be no casualties over here. Like they had to pipe those into the stories.
No one can die anymore.
No one can die anymore. It's bad karma, Mike. Bad karma to die in a movie.
Although I do remember in one of the Marvel movies, they did reference that they got in trouble because of the amount of people they killed.
With who?
Well, the Avengers had to sign the something accord.
Oh, the Sokovia Accords.
Yeah, because of all the innocent people that died during the battle.
Mm-hmm.
So they're allowed to kill people.
The folks on the outside. So yeah, you remember this? Sokovia was being levitated, and they got everybody off that part. But then there's the surrounding area because those rocks still dropped and killed everybody on the outside. Oops.
Wouldn't have been that'd have been a good scene? Like they finally got everyone off the Sokovia lump,
mm-hmm.
and then as it's falling and they all celebrate, just one of them goes, "Wait, where did that just fall?"
Damn.
Oh, spaghetti-o. And then credits. I mean, that'd been a great ending.
Whoa.
Did I do that?
This is my new YouTube. Anyway,
it's gonna be magical.
Not so much a review. Transformers the movie. If you've seen it, it's still fun. The movie is still, it looks beautiful. Again, they did a great job with the 4K restoration. I'm sure they'll do something for the 40th in 5 years.
Maybe that's when they'll do the audio.
If you saw it in the theater, I would love to know if you had a similar experience. I've seen a couple things on Facebook where like they had the volume level at 7 when it should have been at 12. I'm like, I don't know how you measure that, player, but it sounds like you dealt with something similar. I can tell you, in the time before the COVID, Mike, I went to a lovely place called the Alamo Draft House, and they were showing 1978's Superman, the movie. Christopher Reeve, Gene Hackman. You're familiar with it, yes?
That's not the one with so is this Superman 1 you're talking about?
Yeah, Superman 1. Yeah, the original, in our timeline, the original Superman.
Not the hot garbage one with shit, what was his name? The comedian who's in See No Evil, Hear No Evil.
Oh, Richard Pryor. That's Superman 3.
That was so bad.
That was so bad. Well, anyway, the Alamo Draft House was showing the original Superman movie.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? They weren't showing any restoration print. They were showing the original film reel. So It had all the scratches. It's probably missing a few panels. But the biggest thing I got out of the night was we didn't have stereo surround sound. We didn't have Dolby. It's literally just mono. So it's literally just one channel. Just like you remember the opening of Superman. It's those beautiful horns. It's your cell phone probably right now has better sound than the original Superman the movie print. And that's what we're dealing with in this case as well. So let me know if you had a similar experience at your Transformers the movie Fathom event. Otherwise, we'll probably be talking Venom Part 2 next week.
Whereas next week, I'll be recording from a secret location, which I'm not going to mention just now because it's a surprise.
Yes, we need to sync up after this and talk about that. So
yes. But in the meantime, if you like our show, don't forget to subscribe and follow wherever you're either watching this on YouTube or if you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, wherever you're listening to it. Make sure you hit that subscribe and tell your friends, tell your families, make sure they listen as well. Have we got anything exciting coming up on the BossNet Family Network in the next 7 days?
Today, as this dropped, me and Hall of Famer Jameel Hemphill, we released Sweet Science Cinema number 5. We're talking about Denzel Washington in the Hurricane. That's a good episode. Otherwise, check out latest Microdose this Friday, Microdose number 86. Me and Robin Seto talked to Madeline Costner, and she defends her Robin Seto cameo party championship against yours truly. Is it the same old story, or do I win? You don't know. but you'll have to find out, and you'll have to check it out. We talk about all the spooky movies coming out in October for Halloween. Great times.
Ooh. And if you want to see more of me, I'm making a guest appearance on the Between Two Beards podcast.
Oh, cool.
Well, I don't think it's actually a podcast. I don't think it's released. I think it's only live video, so you can see it on. It's a wrestling podcast hosted by two men with beards. I come in and we do a special Between Three Beards. I created that. Very clever. But if you want to check that out, it's all on the Love Wrestling feeds. So if you want to find all that, go to on Twitter, Love Wrestling CA. Then we go live at 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursday night, where you get to see me talk about wrestling for an hour. It'll be fun. Which is quite nice.
Check that out.
Check it
that
out.
out, please.
Yeah, they do it live on the YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, I believe.
Okay.
But yeah, check it out. I'll be on that. But until next time, make sure you follow us individually. I am Mr. Mike Fish. He is Kush_Hayes. This is Waffle Box Pod on all your favorite platforms, and enjoy wafflebox.com. And until next week, of course, as always, make sure you take care of yourself and each other.